And welcome to today's session on the MicroStrategy viewing experience. We're so glad to have you here and we have a lot of exciting product announcements to share with you. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we tell you a bit more about the innovative features we have for 2021, I always think it's important to take a step back and tell you guys a little bit about where we did start our journey. And to do that, we have to start with our product of MicroStrategy Web. Now, historically and present day, MicroStrategy Web has been a tool that's enabled document and report authoring. MicroStrategy Web also allows users to view their history list and other subscriptions, as well as create personal view subscriptions or enter design mode. Users can also view content with what we call presentation mode, which you can see here. However, it doesn't give the exact same options as Modern Library does today, and we'll get into all those different options later in the session. Now today we still have MicroStrategy Web, but since then we've also released an entirely new modern suite of MicroStrategy. You see, the product team rolled out dossiers in the 10.9 release, and you can think of dossiers as our modern dashboards that allow you to create content using the new freeform canvas, as well as different innovative visualizations that are unique to dossier, and these include compound grid, waterfall, and KPI visualizations. Now, at the same time as Dossier was released, our teams released a modern viewing tool for Dossier content, and that's Library. And Library provides a more immersive experience for our business users. I mean, you can take a look at this new sleek interface that you see here, and we've enhanced workflows with things such as table of contents for easy navigation, bookmarks, simple sharing options, and export to Excel, which makes it really easy to take the power of data into your daily workflows. Not to mention, Library is responsive, allowing authors to build once and deploy everywhere, whether that be across web, mobile, or the new MicroStrategy app. You can see here the content is really vamped up for all devices. All right, so hopefully you're still with me. Long story short is that Dossier and Library paired together will allow you to get your organization up to speed with all of our modern clients. This year, our modern library tool was pushed to the forefront of our product innovation as we saw the COVID pandemic interrupt typical workflows of teams across the globe. Now, data has always played a critical role in business decisions, but we saw this even more so during the past year as companies shifted to virtual workspaces and needed our products to stay connected now more than ever. Now we'll get into the features we developed in direct response to conversations with our users, whether viewing content on web, mobile, or the new MicroStrategy application that was released this year. Let's start with one of the largest themes that we focused on for 2021, and that's organization. If you're currently using Library today, you know that there is a flat hierarchy with no way to really organize the content, either at the end user or the admin level. This year, we're excited to introduce a few features that allow users to better keep track of their content. Many times we see a lot of content that's been added to a user's library, whether that's from an administrator or another user that has shared content. It starts to get a little tricky for a user to keep track of everything and know where everything is. And that's why we've introduced the concept of favorites. Users can easily favorite content by using the star icon on the library tile. You can see here as the user clicks on that icon, the content will be automatically added to favorites. By clicking on the star icon again, the content will be removed from the favorite section. Users can also go to the information window and favorite top content there, and they'll also have an entry point within the dossier in the table of contents. The team also designed an entirely new left sidebar menu that you see here, allowing you to easily focus on only favorited content. We also snaked in an additional feature that allows users to navigate to their recently viewed content. On mobile, you'll be able to favorite content easily through the long tap and hold gestures, and note that anything you do in Library will be synced across clients, so anything that you move in mobile will also change in web. All right, so now on to one of my favorite features of the year, content grouping. In addition to favorites and recents that you see here, Library end users can now create customized groups for their content. To start, the user can easily enter this multi-select mode that you see here to start choosing content, and then add anything to an existing group or create a new group entirely. The user can choose a customized name and color for their new group, and again, you'll see those groups reflected in that new left sidebar menu for easy navigation. It's a really big leap for us in terms of organization, and I highly suggest everyone to use this if you haven't already. It's extremely helpful in just adding some structure to your library view that wasn't there before. Now note, product's main focus was rolling this out at the end user level for 2021, but we do understand that organizations want this at the admin level. And essentially tagging content and pushing content as default groups is something that our teams are working on right now. So now you have this awesome organization, but nothing is more powerful than search. With 2021, we also brought global search to Library Home. Previously, if I removed anything from my library, it could be difficult to find again. Global search allows the user to search for items across the environment that they have access to. So for example, if I removed a product management dossier, and I've definitely done that before, I can easily search for it again and add it back to my library, removing that pain point of having to go find the link or have someone on the team send it to me again. Let's jump into the content and go to a dossier. Some of you may be familiar with bookmarks, but if not, they are really powerful because they don't only allow you to preserve those filter selections, but also any in-canvas manipulations like exclusions, drilling, or sorting. If you currently use MicroStrategy Web and Documents, you'll find this as almost an enhanced, more modern version of personal views. Now, before this year, only you could see the bookmarks you created. So if I had this amazing view, I couldn't share it with others. I could only see it myself. So that's exactly what we did this year. Users can easily share the dossier with one bookmark or multiple bookmarks, add recipients in a message, and then on the recipient side of the workflow, users will get that notification and be able to see the bookmark shared within their own library view. For the recipient, there's now a section for shared bookmarks, and where we see a lot of our customers start to use this is almost as a subscription model, right? Because let's say I'm a vice president of sales and I send this to the team for Q1. When I make changes for Q2, the changes to the bookmark will automatically be sent to all recipients. Super powerful addition to the product. We use it all the time internally to share roadmap items and items ready for testing. It just really streamlines communication. Shared bookmarks is fantastic, but we also see a use case where maybe you want to have a more in-depth conversation about a specific view or even an individual data point. That brings us to modern collaboration. Collaboration is unique to library and allows users across an organization to communicate with each other. One of the largest requests we saw come from customers in the last year for collaboration was the ability to create direct or group messages with anyone across the organization. Previously, library had the comment section that allowed everyone to see the messaging. Even internally, we found that to be somewhat of a pain point. Sometimes you might have messages intended for a specific user or group only. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the collaboration panel as you see here. You can see we now have both comments and discussions. Let's go to the discussions and click Add New. Here you can add individual users, multiple groups, a group like you see here with Northeast employees. You can add a title to the discussion and then send that initial message. Only those added to the discussion directly by the creator will be able to view the discussion. Under the information icon, you can see more about the discussion. So if you created the discussion, you can invite additional members to the group or delete the discussion if it's not needed anymore. Now, if you're a member of the group, you can only mute notifications or you can leave the discussion at any time. Now, hopefully you've seen that entirely new blue throughout all of these slides, and if you didn't, now you know. That's all part of our accessibility initiative moving forward. Now, Hugh mentioned this a little bit during keynote, but enhanced accessibility is really integral to our viewing experience overall. Now, 2020 was a leap year, and all in all, the technology teams certainly did take leaps in terms of functionality that our business users have access to. At a high level, our teams were focused on two main things, and that was to be intuitive and to be fast. So you just saw a collection of features that are making the library experience more intuitive, but performance is at the core of MicroStrategy and it always has been. So what exactly are we bringing to the table to enhance overall speed and performance? That's a great question. In 2020 Update 1, we brought you predictive caching, also known as Smart Download, that helped to curate an instant response experience for our users viewing content. And in 2020 Update 2, we had the initial release of a new product in and of itself, the latest addition to the consumer portfolio, the MicroStrategy App. Now, this new app is gaining traction among many of our customers, so let's take a look at what it's all about. To give you more context on the application, the basic foundational piece of the product was that laser focus on speed and performance. And the core motivation for the initiative that we've had since the beginning of the year was just to remove all of the friction of waiting time in library and curate that instant response experience for our users. To give you some numbers, the Windows app is about 84% lighter than Workstation, and for Mac users, the new viewing app is 77% lighter in terms of size on disk after installation. And that makes sense, right? Because we built this really lightweight app for business users to view content. You don't have the authoring or admin that Workstation does. But most importantly is that speed. We see about 60% faster loading times compared to Library Web, as mentioned earlier during the keynote, and that is just extremely impressive. So let's get into some of the features of the application. The MicroStrategy application capitalizes on the power of not only desktop, but also that smart download and automatic refresh, both of which provide the core of the instant response experience. So we're predicting and proactively downloading the content that the users will need for a faster experience, but we're also constantly checking to see if there are any data updates for the user. The updates are then seamlessly integrated across the pages, and you can see here just how fast the page navigation is within the MicroStrategy application. Together, these two features really help us to deliver more robust offline capabilities for those in the field across industries. The offline mode feature was focused on proactively caching content for our users, including their bookmarks or personal views, to ensure that they're ready to go no matter the connection. Many times, if we see a sales team member or consultant planning to be in a location with low connectivity, they'll create bookmarks that preserve the views that they'll need to complete work. Users can always change their settings under Preferences. Now, the tray icon is a piece unique to the app that works in the background regardless of whether the app is open or actively being used. So even if you quit the app, the tray icon will continue to sync the dossiers that you might need later. And so this is particularly helpful for some organizations that might be in Rally or Salesforce for a large majority of the day and need a dossier at any time. So many customers like this feature because they don't want to have multiple web tabs open or be in MicroStrategy all day. They just want to access dossiers at specific times. And finally, we have hyperintelligence. So some of us here on the product team refer to the MicroStrategy app as this powerhouse client because you start to see so many elements of MicroStrategy all within one product. With Hyper, you can turn cards on or off right within the application, and that is super powerful. You can search for cards to get specific insights or use Hyper as an information window as you see in the dossier here. Really cool. And you can also just search for elements just as you can with Web. So really great integration, super fast, and we're really excited about the application. Now again, I'm biased, but I use the app all the time, and this is just because I like to have everything in one place, rather than the same use cases earlier where some customers don't want to have all those web windows open. It's easier for me to figure out where my content is. And when we look down the roadmap a little bit more, you guys will really start to see this app become even more powerful and start to act as a centralized hub for the viewing experience. So I really challenge you and your organization to try it out, even for a day or a week. Definitely start the free trial and get started with your content.